And here is our hierarchical clustering results obtained in R. So let's have a closer look at these clusters and understand what they are. Our first cluster is cluster 1, which is the blue cluster right here, and it contains the customers that have high income and high spending score. So that's an interesting cluster for the mall because customers in this cluster have a high income and spend a lot of money in the mall. So this cluster would be a good target of the mall marketing campaigns, and so we can call this cluster the target one. Okay, now cluster 2. Cluster 2 contains the customers that have high income and low spending score, and so we can call these customers the careful customers. Now cluster 3. Customers in this cluster have average income and average spending score, so we call this cluster the standard cluster. Now cluster 4 has the customers that have low income and low spending score, so that's basically sensible customers who pay attention to the money they spend by paying attention to the money they earn. And eventually cluster 5 contains the customers that have low income but high spending score. So these are customers who are rather careless, especially that 199 customer here who earns a low income but spends a lot of money. So this one should particularly be careful. And actually this cluster 5 here could be a very interesting cluster for the mall company if the latter has a social responsibility, as it is the case for more and more companies today. Alright, so we are done with hierarchical clustering in R. If you want to reuse this code for your business problem, it's very easy. You just have to change the name of the dataset here, then change the indexes of your columns of interest just below. However, if you do clustering in more than 2 dimensions, don't execute the last section visualizing the clusters because it's only for 2 dimensions. But don't delete this section and leave it as comments, because later in this course we will learn a super powerful technique called dimensionality reduction that will reduce the dimensions of your data to perhaps 2 dimensions so that you can use this final section visualizing the clusters to see your clusters in 2 dimensions. Alright, so that's the end of hierarchical clustering in R, and that's also the end of hierarchical clustering. And in the next section, we will recap everything we've learned in clustering. Thank you for watching these tutorials. I hope you are now more comfortable with doing clustering in R or Python. I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorials, and until then, happy clustering!